Everybody, just take a beautiful deep breath as we are here now for our next call with our beloved Q source. And today, of course, it's April 1st, 2023. I promised Q that I would have a joke or two for him. But before we start that, thank you again, everyone, for joining us today. All of you that have been always on our path together already, and also for the newbies, the new ones that are arriving. So thank you all for being here on this wonderful day, wonderful time, wonderful existence, and wonderful Q. So with that being said, hi Q, how are you today?
Beautiful, beautiful day to you. And I am definitely one of the newbies.
Oh, that's true. We keep forgetting that. So do you want to hear a couple of jokes before maybe you begin on your wonderful lyric and song for us today?
You bring it on, please. I love it.
Okay. I'm not even gonna, I'm not really kind of a jokester. However, because I had mentioned that, I thought I'd give you a couple. All right. So here's a joke for everyone. So how do you know you are in love with a robot? How do you know if you are in love with a robot?
Right out of the gate. I love it.
Okay. The answer is you feel a spark. But you could take that in a few different ways. I know that was kind of lame. Okay. So here's another one. So I don't know if I get this, but maybe you might. Everybody else will. What do you get when you cross a banana with geometry?
Geometry.
A slippery slope.
Oh, okay. So first of all, Jane, I have a feling that comedy, humor is all about time. It's all about delivery. It's all about delivery. I'm just learning. Those are strong.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying. I better leave it alone. We'll have to have somebody else who knows how to provide us with some really good jokes next time around, Q.
Well, the colonel next to you probably has some good ones from the barrack days. I'm sure of that. So okay. Outstanding. I really love when you lighten the air for me, because we go through a lot of topics here, and we all deserve to laugh and have fun whenever and at whatever expense, right? So thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Q. We certainly are always very appreciative and grateful for you coming on our programs to be able to enlighten us with all of the truths that have been unknown to us. And of course, with all of your high frequencies of healing and of love. Thank you.
It's my great honor, and it's a privilege to be with you all. And it's a great privilege and honor to do this work, and it doesn't feel like work, because it's just our own passions collectively coming together. It's just so fun to see us all getting our knowledge back, and that's what we're here for, is to get our feet back underneath us. And so I'm in great love of this. And how would you like to proceed today?
Oh, of course. How about a lyric and a song?
I've set myself up so much now. I better show up now, huh?
Thank you so much, Q.
Well, I have a feeling, a knowing when I provide this music for you and or the lyrics, that it will resonate with you. And the musicians are a really good tool for us all. The poets, the writers, a lot of heart-based creativity, and that's what you are, is creativity. Never forget it. And here's a couple words that are overdue, and I've avoided it. And and it's one of the greatest songs probably ever written. Hush now, don't you cry. Wipe away the teardrop from your eye. You're lying safe in bed. It was all a bad dream spinning in your head. Your mind tricked you to feel the pain of someone close to you leaving the game of life. So here it is, another chance. Wide awake, you face the day. Your dream is over, or has it just begun? There's a place I'd like to hide, a doorway that I run through in the night. Relax, child, you were there, but only didn't realize, and you were scared. It's a place where you will learn to face your fears, retrace the years, and ride the whims of your mind. Commanding in another world, suddenly you hear and see this magic new dimension. Visualize your dream. Record it in the present tense. Put it into a permanent form. If you persist in your efforts, you can achieve dream control. Dream control. How are we feeling today? Better? Dream control. Dream control. Help me. If you open your mind for me, you won't rely on open eyes to see. The walls you built within come tumbling down, and a new world will begin. Living twice at once, you learn. You're safe from pain in the dream domain. A soul set free to fly a round-trip journey in your head. Master of illusion, can you realize your dreams alive? You can be the guide, but I'll be watching over you. I'm gonna help to see it through. I will protect you in the night. I'm smiling next to you. Silent lucidity. I hope that starts our show. I have an echo of me. I have an echo of me. Can't you see? Are we there, Jane? I think you're muted.
Sorry about that. Yes. So,
did we get things started?
You did. Fabulous,
okay.
Fabulous way to start our show.
There's no applause. There's no booze or applause on Zoom, so I don't know which way we're going.
A huge applause, I'm sure. So how would you like to start, Q?
Well, let's have some fun. Let's get some work done today. What do you suppose? Did you promote an agenda today?
Well, I thought you have some, and I have a few also.
Okay, very good. Well, there's a lot to do, and a lot of things to play with, and a lot of you are pulling me in various directions, and I'll stay focused with it. And so today I'll give you a couple explanations of some of the increase in your capabilities that are coming through. You should start to see them more and more now, as we've discussed. Again, keep a good model and a template for you to start favoring. For me, would be looking at your consciousness as universal and or galactic, intrinsic, and etheric. And don't put them in any order. They're all concurrent. They're all identical. But the primary topic I'll start with for a little bit of interest in history for everyone is I've been encouraged to talk more about what you're calling the Galactic Federation, which we consider councils. And give you their perspective on what this ascension cycle looks like for us. Many of the successes in this ascension cycle, and many challenges too, and or opportunities. But I thought it'd be fun to start with what questions are asked of me from the councils, and I take it for granted that this is common information. So I'll work through a couple topics, and then if you want to steer me a little bit, Jane, that would be fine for me.
Okay.
The curiosity of much of the councils is about why it's not easier to teach ascension and or make us aware of our unity, our divinity, etc. And so, because you really can't walk the talk until you actually wear the shoes, per se. So we can use any being outside of our frequency here still is outside of our frequency. And remember that we're the ones creating each and every event in your day. So there's not one thing in your environment that was not created by you and or co-created with all the other things around you, including the oxygen you're breathing. So that's commonplace for all these councils because you're born with that knowledge when you're, let's say, participating as another being in another plane. And so just our what we take for granted here is the creation of life into a mammalian is very foreign to these council members because they're used to having all their consciousness from the day they were born in any type of being. So whether it's an animal or a mammalian. So here's a typical question and or body of councilmen, women, not gender specific, that would ask a series of questions over and over today or as they come into our universe. Remember, our universe is quite unique in its respect and appreciation for duality. So here's a summation of a fairly normal council meeting, I would say, from the Galactic Federation. That's what you're calling them, or at least that's what we've standardized. This is pretty much a normal, what you're calling newbies, maybe, to the councils and awareness of where we're at in our universe. So how's it work down there, Q? What's how come you haven't found any shortcuts? I go, well, the first thing they do is they've created a human that only has a very small percentage of light to be received. So we don't have all our capacities when we're born, but we grow into this body and then eventually get more light. Okay, so this is pretty much what, 30, 40-year deal, and everybody is enlightened after they turn 35 or something. Well, it's not quite that easy. First, you're born based on a desire. As a standard, you're based on a desire of lust with another being that you have a karmic circle with, and so then you create this. You create a baby based on lust and desires that are epigenetically recorded, so that you'll have a karmic tie to this being, and about 20 years later, you'll get divorced and sue each other. Okay, what is suing? That's a woman's name, is it? No. What we do after we have babies is we sue each other for not staying an entire 18 years. 18 years? What is time? Okay, never mind. Let's start over. The first thing that happens when you come into this world, born from lust and greed and many other things in a karmic relationship, is they put you underneath. Well, first of all, you lived in trauma for 9 months in your mother the womb of a being that's being tortured with electromagnetic frequencies and poor oxygen, poor water, processed foods, some of which are maybe you eating humans. You never know. If you have a diet at McDonald's, what's McDonald's? Yeah, never mind. on we go. Anyway, so you come out of this victimized mother, and then what they do is they immediately remove you from your mother, and then they put you on a stainless steel table and put a fluorescent light on you to keep you warm, which of course eradicates all of your natural healing capabilities. And then they fill you full of shots so that your DNA will enable even more restrictions to the amount of volume of light that you can get into your physicality. So you start off below zero and climb back out to get your consciousness in you. Anyway, they take you off the stainless steel table, and then they finally give you to mom, and you're swaddled in a blanket, and it feels okay. Mom smells like mom and all that. But you start realizing that nothing's the same here as it used to be. And you're going, wait a minute, where am I? Where am I? And how come everybody's feeding me these things that I don't understand? Anyway, your awareness is instantly dictated by the environment you're in. Okay, hold the boat, Mr. Q. All right, so I'm source. I'm light. I got no problems. I mean, sure, this is a little stifling. I mean, I can get through this. Mammalins have always been very successful at growing and maturing and advancing throughout the multiverse. It's very easy for a mammalin to do many things. What's the catch here? Oh, well, here's the catch. This is the planet that they're calling Earth now. Yeah, that was a great place. A council member would say, yeah, that was an awesome place. What's going on with Earth? I mean, that was a light planet. No, it's a dark planet now. How would the dark get a water planet? That'd be a typical question from the council. How could the dark get a water planet? That is the most powerful planet in the multiverse is water, because it's directly attached to so much volume of light. Well, they got one, and they got this one, and they're not letting go of it. All right, well, so at least we got mammalins down there. Yeah, but these mammalins only have a very small portion of capability because the filter is so strict we can't get the light through the physical body, or at least recognize it. Okay, so again, by the time we're 35, surely everyone will wake of this and be enlightened. Nope. No, see what they have here in this prison planet is they have a survival tool called money. And so wherever you go, you're now, once you got off the stainless steel table, they print your feet, and then they give you an identity number, and that's your inmate number. So from the day you're born, you have to start thinking about survival. Okay, what is thinking? Oh, that's right. Let's start over again. All right. So what they gave you is they put a brain on you that is so powerful. You know, a brain is just to visualize the experience that you have. No, this brain actually is designed to get you to look at everything except your creativity. Come on, Q, you're getting a little crazy. How could Source be distracted so much that it would forget what it is? Well, what they did is they made a brain that inherited all of the capabilities of Source's recognition of itself so that it remembers absolutely everything that's ever happened to it. Okay, this is a ridiculous story, Q. Why would anybody want to remember anything? It's already gone. It's already done. Well, that's how they invented time. Okay, what's this time thing? Okay, time is a clock. What's a clock? Okay, a clock is this mechanical device. Okay, mechanical device that does what? It measures a duration of experiences? No, it measures numbers in a circle. When the sun goes up and the sun goes down, the sun doesn't go up and go down. I know it doesn't, but that's what they believe. So they're measuring time based on light coming and going in a seasonal day. That's correct. And why is that important? Oh, because rent's due in 30 days. Okay. What's rent? Oh, well, on this planet, because it's a prison planet, you have to pay. Okay, pay. What's pay? Hang on, we'll get there. All right. Oh, you have to earn a means of exchange to stay in a survival mechanism in their modern cultures, and or that's predominantly how they live. Their modern cultures, what do they look like? Well, they use this means of exchange thing called money. It comes on a green piece of paper with a pyramid on the back. It's got black magic on it, and everybody seems to want like 1 million of them. Okay, why? Well, that green piece of paper with pyramids on it, it's the survival mechanism for all of the planet. And if you don't have them, you don't have shelter, food, water, or clothes. Okay, well, I can make my own clothes. No, actually, you're going to have to go use this green piece of paper with pyramids to go find fabric, because you don't make fabric on this planet. You go to a department store to get it. And then you purchase it with the green pieces of paper. Okay, great. So I don't have a place to live, and I don't have any clothes, but at least I have water, because you said it's a water plant. No, actually, you don't have water either. See, what they've done is they've actually taken the only currency in the universe. They've taken water and they actually sell it back to you. So wherever you live on the planet in the industrial world, you'll actually have to pay for water. Okay, Q. What are you talking about? So source, water, you have to pay for in this means of exchange system. Yeah, it's not free. Your lifeblood is not free. No, you see, this is a prison planet. You have to pay for water. And it's very important that you get it quick, because you only have about 2 days to live to get it. So better get a job quick. What's a job? Oh, that's where you get the means of exchange. Okay, so I totally understand that we're going to work in a society and support each other, but why is there a means of exchange? Well, because you own things there. Wait a minute. You own things. What are you talking about? How long do you live on this planet? Oh, I think the average human lives the aliens live about 5,000 years, but the mammalians there live 83.2 years. Yeah. So, so these mammalians, Q, they know that they only live like 35 seconds, right? No, they actually believe they live 83 years. They actually believe they live 83 years, and everything's very important. Social Security is important. IRA. What's an IRA? What's that? Well, that's where you keep your means of exchange, where it makes more interest. Well, actually, what you do is, with your means of exchange, you actually gamble with your neighbor, making sure he's more productive at the Fortune 500 companies. So basically, we gamble that our neighbor is more productive than us, and then we buy stocks and bet against him. And then when we're done working at the age of 62 years, okay, so wait a minute. So at the end of your life, you don't have to work anymore? Yeah, you don't. You just live off the earnings of your neighbor, because you bought stocks and gambled that he's going to be successful building cars and automobile planes and software and computer systems that inevitably end up controlling you and taking over your entire life. It's quite a place. All right, Q. So I don't know where to start, Q. So this is a pretty normal conversation with the Galactic Federation and the Council. And so they have no clue about what fair is. They have no clue about judgment. They have no clue about court systems. All of it is foreign to them. That's the one thing I want to be of help to everybody is they have no idea what we're going through until they actually walk with us. And so that's one of the reasons a lot of us have communication with the councils. And a lot of the reasons I have a lot of communication with the councils is they have, you got to remember, it's completely foreign here compared to what they've experienced on a light planet. And so if you want to lead me a little bit, Jane, I'm happy to. But as you can see, it's very confusing for them to not understand why we can't get more of our abilities back quickly, and why we indoctrinate ourselves into these legacy systems. And, I can preach all day, but this will complement much of our topics around meditation and how we work with ourselves, because I think you can see that when you're in neutrality, things are much easier to digest or translate. So anyway, please steer me as you wish. I have a lot of dialogue in all of this.
Okay. Well, I want to say thank you so much. That was, I was laughing. I'm sure a lot of people were laughing also. But on the serious side of it, it's truly, from our point of view, amazing that they don't get it, right? Just like they don't get us, we don't get them or you. And so that's why it's been very, been a struggle trying to leave here to have the better understanding of everything that we are is not really the reality of all of the different light worker worlds, et cetera, et cetera. So, my question, first of all, is if they're out there already sending us all kinds of love and light to help us to evolve and for us to be able to really move into higher frequencies so that this part of this. Now, I guess my question is, if they're out there watching what's happening and they don't get it, I can't understand why they don't finally understand. It's hard to understand that they don't get it, I guess. And that, I mean, that's number one. Why don't they get it? If they've been watching us for eons and billions and, warp years or whatever you call it, I don't get it, that they don't understand that.
Yeah. So,
and you've tried to explain it to them and they don't get it still.
So it's not trying to explain it. They, all of them understand it comprehensively. And that's the disconnection with us. Why don't they understand our roles? Most of the councils are fairly neutral to my next words. They won't take a position one way or another because we're them, they're us. They don't see a difference in it.
Yeah, but if they... I'm sorry.
So what they don't understand is why we don't recognize that we are in control of everything. And we are so powerful, nothing can stop us. That's what they don't understand, is lost in translation. So in order to be a human, you have to actually be a human. And this type of human creates a different universe than a universe that is created by a mammalin. It's a seventh frequency, eighth frequency, 12th frequency, and so forth. So it's not that we need saving, it's we need more awareness. So there's really no one to save you per se except yourself, because we're talking about is bringing more volume. So if they wanted to help, which they help every day, all of us, they'd bring another Jane. It'd just be another James, because this is a mammalin issue of restrictions per se,
right?
Not a location issue. So this is an incredible planet, and that's where you can see the councils have their most weight, is they're protecting the location of creativity, and that's of course the most coveted. I would say the most coveted items in the universe will be planets, arguably genetics. So if you can own a planet, which all of you have created a planet. Everyone listening here has made their own universe for the most part, or at least participated in, just like today, you're making your own universe. And so if you were going to control the development of a reality, you need a planet. So that's what's very sought after by the dark as well. If they can get a planet, they are living large. Like,
right.
It's their greatest achievement. So to make sure I answer your question, the galactic councils will first and foremost want planets to be in their natural state of being. Mm-hmm. And obviously here we do a good job of destroying our planet. Mm-hmm. And we don't even know what our planet is yet. We know an area of our planet, hint, hint, but we don't really understand its true technologies and support it has, if I was to summarize. And we've lost a relationship with our planet.
Mm-hmm. That's very true. So with all of the interactions that you've had with the galactics and, helping them to understand, that we're a prison planet and all of that. And so the question still is, well, they should be asking you, well, how best can we help them so that they can really get to understand that they don't have to live this way? And of course, you've always said that we have to be the ones to do it ourselves. But when they see that we're a prison planet, you would think that, and of course, and we appreciate very much that you're here and other beautiful light beings that understand, the higher frequencies level. But still, I mean, if they see this and it's a part of the big source world, why don't they do more?
Okay, now that's a great question. It's very common. So I get this question both sides of the fence. Why is it that you can't do more when you're down there would be their question to us. And my explanation is because we have about, arguably less than 20% of our knowledge capabilities. And that's even distracting. That's been distracted by all of the artificial communications here and deliverable imaging processing systems that go into developing false beliefs, false knowledge. Yeah, so that's translation, because when we are at the higher frequencies, so to speak, and or less restrictions in a mammalian body, your knowledge is instantaneous. There's no delay. And that's why, so a lot of people will be listening to this conversation today. They'll actually know what I'm going to say before I say it. That's very normal. We talked about this the last show. When I throw a rock in the pond, the other side of the pond, those water molecules know a rock was thrown in the pond. Well, that's very normal at the higher frequencies for us to have all encompassing knowledge. Here's an example. I had someone tell me about a week ago, oh my God, I can't believe you didn't know Jim was talking trash about Roger and all this. I was like, why would I participate in something in the past that's already occurred, whereas that's the primary processing system of a mammal here only focuses on what someone else said, someone else did, another email, another text, and so forth. And so this type of brain doesn't allow you to use your knowledge center, which has all the universal knowledge, all the information, intrinsically or otherwise. And so that's what the real confusing is with the councils, is they don't realize how strong this brain is in its over encompassing, arguably, relationship with source, and knowing full well that all mammalians grow out of any hindrance you give it, given enough time. So this type of human was designed to be cut and pasted, programmed, hypnotized repetitively every day, plus genetically engineered to break down as it gets older. And its environment helps, of course, and its type of sustenance. But certainly you'll notice that everyone is wearing glasses or getting contact lenses, you're seeing that everyone loses their eyesight towards the end of their life.
So
and that's a mechanically designed, that's genetic engineering. That was epigenetically engineered as well.
Yeah. So what is the bridge? What, I mean, as you said before, and you said this numerous times already, that, they're there and they're watching, which we also get from Zora, et cetera. We're watching, and no, you can't make nuclear bombs, and we're going to put a stop to that. But in terms of our consciousness, and you've always said that it's up to us to move from here to understanding and becoming more conscious. But in the meantime, for them, what is that bridge for them to us? And we understand that you're here, which is great. Other light beings are here, and that's wonderful. But in essence, they're still not seeing us move forward. And that's what I feel, especially if they come up with questions like, what is a clock? I mean, if they've been watching us for eons of time, they already know what a clock is to us. They know more than we know. So the bridge between you and us and them and us, what would that really be? Because we are on an ascension path. We have people already that are becoming more conscious. And of course, we have the majority of people that are asleep. So what is the bridge that we need between the galactics and us and higher frequencies? With their being, and I know they're sending us love and et cetera, but there's got to be something more concrete besides asking, what is happening with the water, and why do they have money, and what is blah 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 and all of that. I mean, we're kind of over that, Q.
So part of it is for entertainment and being facetious, but
okay.
You must realize when you're talking to a 12th dimensional being. And I don't care for the term dimensions, but we're going to use these conversation. They have never been to a third frequency. They haven't had dense forms. This is remove mechanics, artificial limbs, artificial anything in your body. If you look at this type of mammal, and probably the densest human you can find in in this universe that isn't already a robot or completely cloned out. So you must realize that our naivety about being a 12th dimensional being is just as equal as the naivety of being a third dimensional being. So it's just the same. You've never done it. How would you know? Now, having all the knowledge of the universe is only knowledge. Mm-hmm. So when you are at the higher frequencies, it's not that you don't know what a clock is, as an example. You don't know why it has any bearing on your life. Why would it? So those are the real crux of the questions. We don't recognize why or why not time is relevant to the higher frequency beings, and vice versa. So they would assume Source, God, their peers, their best friends, by the way, down on Earth, would say time is absolutely ridiculous. Surely they'll figure it out. And the only way to be a participant with us is to actually be us. So you can't be a 12th dimensional being in a third dimension, right?
Right.
So you have to be a dense being. You have to be this type of being to create this kind of universe. So we're the ones controlling the dark as well. And the dark is climbing to get to us, dear ones. Everyone, please. You're not living in a dark reality. You are living in a very high vibrational reality and co-mingling with the dark, doing its best. The dark would really like to get to the 12th dimension, as an example. Can't do it unless you endorse it. If you pick up that next email, that next text message, the dark is doing its best to hang on your shirt tail. Now, that didn't open a can of worms, did it?
So, all right. So they don't get us, and we don't get them, and here we are.
No, that's not what I said, Jim.
Oh, okay.
What I said is it's us who are them right now. So again, the
True,
etheric, the universal,
true,
and the intrinsic. Do
right.
not put them in layers. Put them all as one. You
Correct.
are source.
Right.
So are they in a different position. And they're just as valuable as we are down here as they are up there.
Yes,
there's no
you're
difference.
Absolutely correct. Right.
We're just in a denser reality
yes.
for right now in our recognition of it.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for reminding me that. All right. So where do we go from here then?
What time is it?
Almost 2, I guess. We only have an hour left. I got a few other questions also, Q. But, that's a really appreciate. I think we all appreciate, you're really defining or explaining how it is that they are where they are and they don't understand. But yet we should, and so the more we become more awakened and conscious, et cetera, then we'll have a better understanding of who we really are as truly the source that we are.
So there's no differentiation between the count.
Not really.
And so we're waiting for, as usual, we're waiting for a cavalry, but we're it, as we may hear many other speakers say, the cavalry is already here, folks.
Right.
So they don't, why are they not helping? No, you're helping plenty.
Right. Yeah.
That's it. That's it. This is it. This is what you're here. That's what's going on.
Okay, so how? Let's take this on a kind of a different tangent, if you will, and the reason why this came up today for me is I had somebody knocking on my door, and they gave me a leaflet about going to a Jehovah's Witnesses memorial of Jesus Christ. So it's all about the focus now. The Christians, Catholics, Baptists, whoever they are of the various religions, are now preparing for the great. For Easter, the Great Ascension, that ascension, right? That they know of or have been, that is how they've seen over and over again how life is, right? So explain if you can bring some more clarity. So we have family members very much that are into all of the different religions, right? So how can we best intervene if asked, why aren't you going to church? And why aren't you, doing the Lent thing, of whatever it is? And why aren't you preparing for Easter? So what should we say to them, and not to get them they already think we're crazy. They already think we're nuts, but so how can we at this time be of bring greater good and light to them if asked? Because I don't want to say anything unless someone asks. So if we could take that avenue, because I think it's all about, becoming higher in our frequencies, and also to saying what the truth is for people who ask, because it's time to stand up. And when we do that, we bring our alignment more into the higher frequencies. Anyway.
Okay. So, didn't we do a song a couple weeks ago about, preachers? I love it. So the sales guys that come to your door, Jehovah's Witness, I'm split between the sales guys from the Mormon side, and the sales side from the Jehovah's Witness side. But what I think we're going to do to solve this problem is we're going to do a webinar. I got to get with the BBS guys, but we're going to do a webinar. And it's very rare that I find good legacy literature here that hasn't been tainted too much by cutting and pasting and manipulation. But what we're going to do is, for all the religious people, every section of religion, I feel we can get a webinar done in about 4 2-hour sessions, if I can get everyone's buy-in on it. But I'd like to get several million people to go ahead and have us talk about the Magdalene relationship with me and the relationship with all of the biblical stories that have been misled to us. And so I feel that's the best way to do it. But first, the first question I have is how come they eat swine on Easter? I don't understand that.
Yeah. You're asking me?
I'm asking. Yeah, I'm asking. Why do they do it?
That's a good question. I wouldn't eat swine.
Most people don't realize that swine is a subset of a mammal. So why do we eat humans at Easter? Well, that's one of the aliens.
Tradition. Yeah.
Yeah, and so we're going to consume another being during the assumed Lent and or Passover. Is anybody catching on to this yet? So there's a Passover. Oh, is there? Okay. So anyway, I'm not going to beat this horse continuously, but I think the best way to do it is I'm going to go ahead and put together a seminar. Well, I'll have unusually we'll have script read so that I can get this all out quickly, and I will not be the one reading it. But everyone is pulling on me to get the religion compartmentalized so we can digest a little better, because you have so many different Bibles here. Obviously, we're all confused. So I'll get that. I'm going to get that cleaned up real quick.
All right.
Along with all the other project review opportunities we have there. So please keep pulling me. Direct me in where you want to take the show.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So we're going to forget about that, because Q is going to have some really detailed information for us regarding.
But don't you have some religious jokes?
So
you must have some jokes, though.
I don't have some religious jokes. I don't, but I do have a few questions as well.
The Bible I found here is probably Living Biblically. That's probably the best Bible.
Which one?
Living Biblically. This is the best Bible. It's living identical to what the Bible tells you to do, and you end up making an absolute disaster of your life. It's a great book.
Okay, so here's two other questions, not related to Easter, but it's, so tell us a little bit about angels and archangels, and then on the Eastern part, talking about Kundalini and meditation. So let's start off with angels and archangels. Tell us a little bit about those beings.
Okay, very good. Again, I'm encouraging everybody to look at us collectively, concurrently, as etheric, intrinsic, universal, and or galactic, all at the same time. So when you start talking about angels, you've given something a title. So and I'm okay, because we assume that being angelic is a something. Okay, so it's very important that is a trick. What is an angel? Jane, is an angel better than you, Jane?
Well, this is what we've learned, is that they are beings of light that can help us.
Hold me there. Hold me there. So aren't you a being of light as well?
We are.
Okay, so let's look at this in a compartment on identity of an angel and or an archangel. Now, let's go sit at the council for a minute. If we're at the Galactic Federation and or the councils, and you ask them the same question, you know what they'd say? How come the beings on planet Earth don't know they're all fallen angels? How do they not know that they're all fallen angels? And there's only about 10% that are not. How do they not know that? Now, would you like to rephrase your question?
Well, I think
changes everything, doesn't it?
Right.
So,
right.
Okay, so a higher frequency being coming and participating at a lower frequency would be my definition of an angel. And an archangel would be one that actually does something with you. Hint, does something with you and participates with you and doesn't sit on their hands in their high throne in another universe saying, why don't they fix that place? You actually go do something and participate. That's what an archangel is. I prefer light being.
Okay. So we won't even bring up the word angel or archangels.
So as soon as you see identity and titles, there's your clue. Something outside of. So that's where the religions have done an outstanding job in associating identity. So, and that's when all of us get our light back through the ascension cycle. That's their biggest combat tool, is when I show up and the rest of us show up, we are now an identity. We're something bigger than we're supposed to be. We're supposed to look like a goddess, whatever. They'll put any form they want. And making fun of form is the best thing to do. It's very fun to do because it doesn't really matter when you realize you've lived a billion lives in a billion different locations. And this comedy of let's say tenure, this comedy of let's say longevity is all biblically constructed. All religions, forgive me, dear ones who followed these beautiful buildings throughout their life that you're calling a church. I'm sorry, but all religions have unbelievably good information in it, clouded with garbage. Absolutely, very difficult to sort it out. And I'll clean that up, I believe, in a webinar, and we'll call it. Let's make it funny too. Let's say, come to Jesus meeting. Let's do it. call it.
Oh, I love it.
Anyway,
so true. We have.
Yeah,
you have.
I do want to. I do want to give some of that. Some of those history lessons are interesting, and so I do want to get that on the table. And again, everyone who listens, please take it or leave it. It's just information, but I think I can get this cleaned up in probably 4 webinars, 2 hours a piece. If I can get, I'd like to get several million people listening in so we can really get that. A lot of these people who are calling and listening to these shows, I'm noticing their abilities are growing so quick. They can discern BS, and so they can do a lot of work for all of humanity as intended, just by listening to some of the work they've already done internally and externally with, I think, a little bit of help from me. I'll at least show you what it was like here 2,000 years ago. I'll get the story straight for you so you don't have to run around in circles and pretending you met David and Goliath, et cetera, et cetera. But anyway, we'll get this sorted out.
Thank you. I'm so glad I brought that up. Oh, very good. Thank you very much for that, Q. So anyone right now that is listening to this call, you have any ins in regards to larger populations who would be open to this information, or those that are at least open to listening to something new and understanding more about who they are as the beautiful spirit beings that we truly are. So just go ahead and email me, bcjrainpartners@gmail.com. Most of you know what that is. So just kind of let me know in terms of where you are, what you can do to help and assist so we can all together bring millions of people to this call that Q is putting together for all of us. That will definitely, we better be over that, whatever that, critical mass is, so that we get done and the bad guys, Illuminati, whoever they are completely out of the way, and we can all be floating into the different highest frequencies that we are. So next question, Q, is regarding Kundalini. A lot of people, including myself, have learned how to move energy, up and down the different chakras that we have in this form. And many have learned how to be able to move into that higher, what we call full awareness and awakening, which in the Eastern philosophy, they call it Kundalini. Could you explain that more for us?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And what's fascinating for us all is we all have a good piece of the puzzle, just not comprehensive. And it's really because of course, the restrictions and filters we have. 2,000 years ago, the mammalians prior to 2,000 years ago were much lighter. And it was much easier to, as you say, participate with the Kundalini energies that are naturally there for you, and transition them as you needed them. So, as an example, when you went to hunt, you could use your Kundalini energies to know where the animal was you were hunting, as an example. So, a lot of that for me, I'm calling knowledge, your memories back. All of it is encompassing. And the more you bring into physicality, the more it represents your true authentic self. And so the word Kundalini is also very leading to again, once you see identity and title, someone's touched it. Okay, so I don't want to judge it by any means. And we need to call it something because that's how we communicate. So I'm fine calling it the Kundalini energies, but I would prefer us to start looking at the volume of the Merkaba that comes through into our existence and how we do it. So it's a very delicate conversation, and we need to really use it with great respect and appreciation that our sensuality and our sexualities are the tools that the bad guys gave us to manipulate our Kundalini energies here. So again, the Swordlows probably do the best job of explaining that it's a double-edged sword to have so much power and then only be able to direct it through one avenue. That was one of the goals of the geneticists who created this version of human. Whereas 2,000 years ago, we had instant capability to transverse more light into us. And 6,000 years ago was even easier. So I'd like us to get a little more comfortable in bringing more volume of light. So as an example, when you have an orgasm, try and think. And you can't because you're in peace energy, you're in source. So that's a little trick. Now, you used to be able to sustain that feeling continuously. All right. So this is why I poke great fun at meditation, because many individuals who have not been in this type of human don't understand how hard it is to be representation of what you're calling Kundalini energy consistently and concurrently all day, every day. So tell me why you're not in the state of peace and why you have to meditate. So I'll ask you, Jane, why do you have to meditate?
Well, just as and you spoke about orgasms, so when people come together in sex and one or both have an orgasm, you go into that state of this is whatever it is you want to call it, euphoria or whatever it is. You feel fulfilled, you feel at peace, right? Now that is intermittent. So as one moves into higher frequencies, you can still get there. But, again, it's a practice that one does outside of the body where you're actually using your own beingness within your heart to be able to access that. I don't know if I answered that question, or I can't remember the question already because because we're talking about Kundalini and that it's accessible at any time. And given who we really are, we should be at that level always. But that's why we're here, because we're not. And that's why we're moving into greater awakening and, consciousness anyways, right? So that is still a process.
Yeah, and so when we observe, the sacred sensualities, sexualities, you can see how the religions and many dogmas have attacked our natural way of connecting back to source with the limitations we have are also opportunities. And so I would prefer if we would remove all definitions around these words regarding sex and sensuality, but we don't have any more words to replace. So that sacred, the sacred union with yourself is the best I can do to remind everybody that that's what's been stifled from us as a generalization. What we're calling the Kundalini energies, because you should be in that state of being all the time. So that's why my flip question to you is, why do you need to meditate?
Okay. Well,
because your environment takes you out of your Kundalini energies.
Exactly. That is the reason. So when I meditate, I can get into that peace energy and all of a sudden nothing that I see outside of that. I mean, I'm not there. I just feel the peace, the joy, we call it the bliss. And that is where,
yeah,
I don't need to have a partner in order to be able to get there.
That's correct. And so, the love that we share with ourselves is quite abundant to satisfy us. And so that's some of the tricks here. When you see some of the addictions, there always have something else. It's something that someone's looking for outside themselves.
Exactly.
And so that's why I want to be real careful with this, because we all enjoy companionship and partnerships, but it will never be fulfilled unless we are in love with ourselves first.
Exactly.
And so it's quite fascinating, quite exciting for me to see so many people falling in love with themselves again, and notice the people that are not in love with themselves have the most, let's say, chaotic relationships with others, don't they?
That's true. So let's talk a little bit about meditation, if you will, Q. Mm-hmm. So just to clarify for lots of people, in regards to meditation and being abducted. So when I meditate, or I guess I have a couple of questions in regards to abduction and meditation and just abduction itself. So as you have said and reminded us often that we get abducted or can be abducted every 10 minutes or so, right? Unless we stay in our heart center. Now, and you've given us examples, even for myself, when I wasn't, all here, because I got abducted for a couple, for a minute or a few seconds or so, and then I came back again. So when we meditate, or when I meditate, I'm very conscious of what I'm doing and moving from, the vault of knowledge, as well as working together with my heart. That for me, there is that union as well, because, within the brain, we have that pineal gland as well that's also releasing, the abundance of, liquid. I can't remember what that is. Anyways, to help you to be able to connect more and more with who one is in this physical body, which is to become more enlightened, or, get the Kundalini moving, if you will. So, for me, it isn't just about the heart. It's like the whole body moves. The whole body moves into a higher frequency level. When I can meditate, or even if I listen to one of your calls, or be with Zora, or be, just even in conversation, I could feel the higher frequencies of certain people. And that is wonderful as well, because that brings more peace and joy, especially when you can converse in such a way that it's always so peaceful and joyful and nothing else really matters. So I think I kind of went around in circles there, Q.
No, I find it lovely to using our conceptual imagery and then the words. That's just beautiful for me, because now we know we're sorting things out, we're examining things after that knowledge comes into us. Well done.
Right.
See, the words are the confusing part. The information we have is very clean. in these webinars that I'll do, I will go into great detail with Kundalini energies and how those teachings were stolen by the churches. All the churches stole that information and made it so that it was icky, dirty, and by the way, let's make everyone, put everyone in identity in silos so they can't be unified with each other. So I will go into great depth, but essentially I want to just go on record again. Meditation is absolutely awesome. And my position on it is, why do you have to meditate? And why are you using your mind to meditate instead of your natural ability? So I had someone, as an example, say to me the other day, you've just sat there for 4 hours meditating. I go, no, I wasn't. I was just sitting there I didn't even know I was there for 4 hours. I didn't know I was there sitting there for 4 hours. I was just sitting. And so this is some of the ascension symptoms I want to remind everybody of is you're losing track of time all the time now. God, that's funny. That's good.
That's good.
All right. Okay. And so that is normal. That is really normal to lose track of time. And so you're all time travelers. You're all able to create the frequency and urgencies that are around you, more or less. And so the only thing that stops you is the others participating in your environment, right? So anyway, I love anyone that can stay in the understanding of peace is yours 100% of your time. Now, if we're going to teach people that we have to stop what we're doing and then meditate to be in peace, there's where I have my problem. Why are we not in a peaceful state all the time? Why do I need to juggle the crystals to get in a meditative state? If we are meditating, we should actually ask ourselves, why do we have to meditate? And by the way, please don't do mind control meditations. That's all I'm saying. I see lots of people channeling beings into them when they meditate. They go play in Zorondoville or who knows where they go. That's all I'm saying is this mind was designed to hijack source. Okay. And I'm not budging off this. Yes, we have the ability to use the mind to understand the knowledge that's out there. Record it if we'd like. Hang on to it. Let go of it. No problem with that. But why are we living in this chaotic life where we have to stop what we're doing to be in our natural state of being? Your natural state of being is meditative state, not the other way around.
Right.
That's my goal here.
Thank you.
Did I make myself clear? Possibly.
You made yourself very, very clear, Q. Thank you.
Love you. Love you. That was some good animation. Go ahead.
I love that. Yes. So my other question, kind of related to that is, well, let me see. That was meditation. Well.
Anyway, let's answer your Galactic Federation question earlier.
Okay.
The solution that they will all have unanimously.
Okay.
Redundantly, repetitively. How come you can't, Mr. Hotshot Q? How come you can't get them to stop thinking? They all want to know why all we do is think. They can't understand that because they've never been in a body, or at least this type of body, in this type of environment, in a dark planet. See, what's going on here is the dark is attempting to make its own universe. Dear ones, you can see it right before your eyes in your video games, in all of your environment, your cell phones. They're doing their best to make an alternate universe parallel to a light universe. And they have a pretty good start, but they don't have a lot of space. So you're seeing the attention growing from the councils and the Federation because we're right at the ascension cycle. You're right at the end of the 2,000-year mark. And so we're all going to, we all have to get on our bikes now and start pedaling. Okay. So I'm here because I want to get everybody out of here that wants to. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it's your God-given right to do whatever you want in the universe. And the dark is doing its best to keep you here. And I love this planet. It's been taken over by the dark. I'm sorry, folks. And this planet wants our help. And one of the ways we can help is by living higher frequency. And that helps the planet grow too, because it's going to go whether you like it or not. But you can really help your planet if you live with your planet in high frequency choices each and every day. And that's what speeds up the ascension cycle for everything.
You bet. We agree. A couple of other questions, Q. I have a question regarding channeling. So, and I'm going to just speak about Zora and Zorea. Now, I know they're not from here, but why is it okay for Zorea to channel? I mean, it's a trance channel to Zora or other light beings that channel other light beings. So what you're saying is that's not a good idea either. So it's not a good idea either for Zorea to be doing what she's doing.
No. Yes. So let's clean that up if you don't mind.
Okay.
First of all, portal technology and channeling are completely different. So I'm speaking to you from another dimension right now. And I know it's fantastic to a lot of people to hear that, but I am not here full time with you. I'm only here a percentage of your time. I'm in real time. You're not.
Right.
It's very difficult for me to say this, and I have to be brave and I have to stand behind it forevermore. You all are out of time. I'm in real time. I'm dreaming I'm here with you, just like you are dreaming you're here with me. Don't get that wrong. You have all those abilities. So when we channel something outside of ourselves, it's always going to be outside of ourselves. Portal technology is where you agree that you want with yourself, that you want to go be there concurrently somewhere else. And or you've made an agreement with another individual that you would like to enhance the experience or participate in the experience by using the portal to go be there in real time. Notice that people using portal technology don't stay in our reality very long.
Right.
A beautiful person to look at, dear relationship Bashar, doesn't stay here very long now, does he?
Right. Correct.
So Daryl has a portal technology with himself. Yeah. So that is someone who's being here simultaneously by being somewhere else, but not all the time. It's in and out of time. Channeling is taking another being, putting it in you, and letting it administrate your physicality. Now, the problem with channeling is some of it is outstanding information. Mm-hmm. It's really good, but it's all information you can get on your own. It's outstanding information sometimes, and then it gets clouded with poor information. There's many people that get abducted by channeling other entities pretending to be good. Mm-hmm. That's how sneaky these guys are. They can pretend to be Albert Einstein. They can pretend to be Nostradamus. They can pretend to do and absolutely represent the information all the way up until the quick. They can start manipulating your mind. They can start putting thoughts that are let's say migrated through you when you think you're you. So it gets very confusing. Who's the real you? And that's why psychologists and are on my favorite "what are you doing" list, because they're not representing the etheric, the universal, and the intrinsic levels as a collective. Okay. Does that help a little bit, you think?
Oh, that helped a lot. So thank you so much for that clarification. I have a couple more. Oh, what time am I? Okay. So since we're kind of talking about off-worlder kind of things, people talk also about the astral planes. Can you explain that? Or is that another something that...
Yeah, all these subjects take about 30 seconds to explain, so it shouldn't be a problem.
Okay.
So I like to use the etheric just to because that, believe it or not, that when you do look at the definitions of etheric, they didn't cloud up that word that much because they want us to know what etheric is, because that is the dark's tool to climb ladders to get to us, so to speak. So let's use your word and blend it with mine. We'll use etheric, and you can also call it the Beyondo. So you can call it Foreverville. You can call it, I'm not sure where I'm going yet, but I'm going to go there'ville.
Okay.
So that is the gateway to introducing another universe. Let's just call it a little bit of delay when we're changing the channel. That transition time between being a monkey and then being an elephant to being a human to being a water molecule being. There is arguably a bit of delay as we go get excited about our next choice. Expression of ourselves. And that's might be the shortest version of explaining the etheric, which would probably take about 1 billion years to explain because it's endless. It's the Beyondo. It's forever.
Okay, so when they talk about astral,
let's hold me there. It's tough. It's a tough subject, right? So now when we look at the intrinsic level,
yes,
it has delineation from etheric, doesn't it? I can build a home. I can use my hands to put nails in the wood. I can, et cetera, et cetera. I can die. I can perish, and you can make jewelry out of my bones, Jane. So in the intrinsic world, I'm still attached to the etheric world now, aren't I? Because Source had to get into an experience, an expression of itself in the environment it chose. So for me, it's been communicated on what the etheric is, or what was the word you used? Forgive me.
Astral.
So I don't like that because it's already leading you to being in an astral, a location outside of your body. So there's your trick. Why does somebody want you to be outside your body? So something can jump in, of course. Okay. And everyone is immediately going to say, I would never let that happen. I'm Superman. It couldn't happen to me. I have to get to work now, and I will make it happen. Okay, that's not true, folks. That's part of their game. They're abducting our thoughts. That's what they want.
Okay. So just to clarify also, when we talk about the astral planes, as people have mentioned, is that you go from I guess so when one, let's just say the word death dies, they go into the different astral planes. So they've divided it up into tiers. So there's one plane where you can meet Jesus and you see the light. And then there's another plane, somewhere else. And I don't know about that, but so, maybe you could just kind of explain a little bit about that. About people after they die, so to speak, but they don't die. They really ascend because we're immortal. But go ahead, please.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a couple opportunities for the bad guys. I went through the karmic wheel in the last 2,000-year ascension cycle several times to understand it. And I've done it several times, multiple times here. And the karmic wheel here has a great desire to keep their finger on us as we get to the etheric level. Not all of us, this is not a standardization, but most of us, they like us being able to astral travel because now they get to play, manipulate, get us directed in a different way. I think I might get this person's name wrong. I think Sean David Morton had a radio show years ago when I used to listen to these, and he would explain how his reincarnation and or traveling into reincarnation, he was greeted with 75 virgin wives as an example. Well, this is alien technology to entice us to belief systems, et cetera, et cetera. So as soon as you see an image, when you go into what you're calling the astral plane and the etheric, you'll know that that's been constructed. So remember, everything outside yourself, you must hold firm. It's still outside you. So what wants to introduce itself to you when you're outside of your body?
I'm sorry, what was that again? Excuse me, Q. Could you repeat that again for me? Well, hello, Q.
Yes, forgive me. So when you're outside of your body, what's going to jump in is my gross salutation. So if it's outside yourself, it's outside yourself, is it not?
Correct. Well, what about the people that have near-death experiences? It's outside of themselves also, right? Although they feel that they've been enlightened.
Now, doing it so many times, I can talk all day about this. Where did you choose to come back to?
But they came back to their body.
Yeah, why is that? Because they couldn't get out of here. They couldn't get out. And so that reintroduction of an identity, Mother Mary, all of it is constructed. Okay, so remember, you don't have identity before you had identity. If we can get everyone there, that identity was created so you believe in something that you are. That's only purpose for it. It's all alien technology. See, when you to look at it from the council's point of view, how is it that everyone believes they are only going to have that lifetime? I go, they don't have any knowledge, they don't have any memories. Okay, great. But how come you can't teach that? Why can't you just explain to them they live forever? Right. Because they don't have, all their books were constructed by aliens as well. They don't have any books to read. They can barely tie their shoes would be the answer. And I get to say that because that I'm talking about me. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't know this until I actually did
it. So go back to near-death experiences. There are many people who've had that, and they really felt that they became a better person after they came back into their bodies. So did they lose their identity for a short while, or what happened to their consciousness then in a near-death experience?
Yeah, and so I feel good that's a pretty standard realization that every time you do go through the karmic wheel, leave the body, come back, you naturally get more of your light in you. That is a true statement. Oh. And that is why they destroyed me so many times, is they got to map it. And so what they can't figure out, so we'll use me as an example. Mm-hmm. They've done it to all of us to some degree. Remember, all of you are still here. You're all homesick because you keep going through this reincarnation wheel. Mm-hmm. Not all of us, but a very, very large percentage of us is recycled through this karmic wheel. And you're not recognizing that you get to leave whenever you want. So your choices are taken away from you because you get sold this bill of goods that you got to come back and learn some lessons. Mm-hmm. Now, I want to ask you, Jane, if you're source and you have all the knowledge of the universe, tell me what lessons you need to learn. I'm gonna go right back to it again. You're just an experience of all the knowledge you have. Mm. Please ask the question again. I noticed that we had some distractions.
But the near-death experience of individuals, many who have left their bodies.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
The hospital, so
using me as an example, the reason they destroyed me so many times is they can't figure out how a light being can participate with you, and especially during the ascension cycles. So they've gotten to see me come and go so many times. They figured that they could map it and duplicate it, which they of course cannot do. They can't do it on anyone in the planet, for that matter. And the reason they can't do it is because you're of a higher frequency you reside from a higher frequency, and now you're in a lower frequency, and they can't even spell higher frequency. They don't understand how it works and how it is.
Okay. I think I got it now. So the people, the ones that have had near death experiences that actually left the body, when they came back, though, it's actually, they're already from they're actually in a better situation because they've got more consciousness within them that came back to the body. Right.
Yeah, to a degree. Now, I've also seen the technology these guys got can compromise that too. So they can make you a vegetable when you're born again. Their favorite thing to do, though, they get more mileage if they can endorse knowledge in you when you come back, and then of course you feel more enlightened because you have more light in you. But they'll put carrier information in, like the Akashic records is one of their favorite ones. Right. So yes, there's such thing as the Akashic records. Yes, your planet has a history.
Yeah.
It's one of billions and billions and billions of grains of sand in the universe. So why is your planet so important to your billions and billions of different planets you've ever been to, realities you've been in? Because someone wants you to think that this one's really important, don't they?
Yeah, so we know who they are.
Let's give it a sexy name, and let's get you to reincarnate and be a Swami. Yeah, right. You're going to be a shaman when you come back, and you'll have it all figured out.
Yeah,
because you know the Akashic records, and you're tapped into them whenever you want, and you'll just go to the Akashic record library, and you'll have all the answers. I'm sorry, it's all alien technology.
Yeah.
Yes, some very good people are getting duped. Yeah. Sorry, I've done it many times, folks. I've come and gone many times out of this body. It's a trick. It's a trick. I'm sorry to say.
Okay, so the Akashic records are not are also part of an identity, or a part of the bad guys or the dark's agenda.
Our natural ability is to observe the history and consciousness of anything in the universe. So. Again, the records of your planet are real. It's like it'd be like asking you, what was it like in the third grade? You can ask your planet that, no problem.
Okay, got it.
All I'm saying is, why is there such an emphasis to give it a title and get you to participate with just one history of billions and billions of planets? Why is this planet just so? So you can see that you're being siloed into assuming that it's just like the 50 states in America. They want you to believe you're from Iowa instead of Texas. It's a compartmentalization system.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move on to another topic that has come up. And, we were talking eventually, and even in the previous call, regarding crystals, etc. So the usage of many light workers, they use a pendulum to connect with their intuition to give them an answer. So that's, again, it's a part of your communication with a pendulum, with the crystal that you utilize, or metal that you use for that, and or dowsing. Do you want to tell us a little bit about how you feel about those things, those items that we use?
Yeah. So, again, let's look at the three functions of us concurrently at the same time. Universal, intrinsic, etheric, not necessarily in that order, all simultaneous. Maybe make yourself a bubble and represent where you are in that bubble. The tools we're using outside of ourselves are still outside of ourselves. Okay. So have I used water wands to find water? I have. Have I used water wands to find gold? I have. Have my water wands been hacked before? Absolutely. Has my pendulum been hacked? No problem. And I'm supposed to be the best one on the planet to be able to use these. So I'll just let you know, you have a lot of folks that want to mess with you here.
Yep.
So take great care. There's absolutely amazing experts that work with crystals here. but they can all be hacked through the mind, not the crystal, the mind. Right. So when you will that crystal to give you a yes, guess what? It's going to give you a yes.
You bet.
And so if you can't be in that neutral state, that peace energy, first of all, if you were in peace energy, you wouldn't need a crystal, is my point.
I get it. I understand. That's perfect. Yep. You would know.
And I'm rooting, so I'm always rooting for all of these tools, and they always seem to fail when you start looking at the when you look at them in series of events. So what if you made a decision to, let's just say you took your pendulum out every time there was a decision to be made. So who is it that's living their life now?
Not you.
Well, it could be you. Could be mind control. Okay, wait a minute. You're telling me, does thought come from me? Now I'm really confused, Q. Now I'm supposed to stop thinking, oh my gosh, I just got evicted. See, this is how beautiful this little game is here. All of your technology here was designed to create another universe. Your cell phones are designed to create another universe. Your televisions, television machines. Timelines are to be created through your text messaging system. Anything to get you to react to anything is the dark's tools. So as you're proactive at creativity, nothing can touch us. Nothing. So when you use a pendulum, the dark is really licking their chops. Now, not to say you can't be effective with them, but if you're not in peace energy, you are set up to fail every time. Does that make sense?
Oh, makes sense. I mean, I used pendulums, as I was moving more into my spiritual path. And I noticed also, I've noticed the differences in terms of when I used it and when I've used it properly or not properly, and I would always get the wrong answer. Or the right answers, depending again on my state of being. So yeah, absolutely. So then let's talk back, because I know that this was also a discussion on the last call. It was in regards to the headbands. So the headbands, we don't utilize that headbands as seeking information at all. The headbands are really utilized to enhance the frequencies that it has to have you more in a peace, more calm and harmonious state. So, I mean, that's how I feel.
I'll speak to that. As you're aware, recently I was able to wear one of Zoraya's headbands, and I found it to be perfect for me because, but again, it was because I was observing the tool, the tool wasn't driving. The tool is exceptional because it allows you to come to it, not the other way around.
Correct.
Whereas a lot of people are looking for this solve all thing outside themselves. Again, the Calvary, what have you?
Right.
Our Lord Savior from somewhere, Istanbul, planet 37548. I don't know what people are looking for when they have everything inside themselves. Is what I keep coming back to at the risk of being redundant.
Well, I'll tell you. I mean, you keep repeating the same the same information, but it really is getting ingrained into our into our spirit. So please don't stop. Q. We're not at that point yet for you to just kind of disappear on us. So let me see. I'm looking at the time already, and it's already 2:36. Did you? I mean, we haven't even touched on anything else that you wanted to really discuss for today.
No, I just love letting it flow. And if you have more questions, I'm all ears. I am passionate about today some of the ascension opportunities we have right now in our physical bodies. And, again, I'm passionate about talking about timelines and some experiences I observed and how it might relate to people in finding themselves. But please, if you have questions, I love those first and foremost.
All right. Well, I have probably 2 or 3 more. So the first thing, since we're talking about crystals and headbands, and we're talking about, higher frequencies, etc., tell us a little bit about the moon and the sun and their purpose and what they are and how they function in regards to who we are.
Yeah, that shouldn't take much time at all.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, that'll be quick. So the moon, let's knock that one out first, if you don't mind.
Oh, that would be really great. I can't wait to hear this.
Okay. The moon was dragged here. We got to go quick here so we don't run out of time here. There's a lot of good speakers over the years who understand this. If you want to do the Penrose, papers or.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I think we lost him. Well, he'll be here shortly, guys. Hopefully he knows that he's not on the air.
Okay, so the moon, for the most part, the moon has always been a spaceship. A couple guys did a pretty good job, Lucas and Spielberg. They showed you that the moon, for all of us, will look like a Death Star to us. And obviously, everybody asks, how come you're not doing anything about saving America from the cabal? And I say, well, you've got an alien ship around your planet. It's kind of tough to beat these guys when they got a gun pointed at your head. Okay. So for me, the moon is always going to be a weapon, and it's always going to be an alien ship that was drugged here mechanically. It was constructed to control women's biology, the planet's biology, animals' biology, tides, and so forth. Used to be right above your sky. Many people already know this information, so I forgive everyone that this is so redundant for many. Used to come out at night in your backyard, and all you would see would be the moon. And so the moon is slowly moved away from your planet, and now it's at an interesting place now. Actually makes it more powerful the farther away it is, because it can be more expansive in its direction of transmitting. So it likes to transmit. It can control weather. It controls time. They can speed it up and slow it down. The moon is a machine, and the faster we get rid of it, the happier we'll all be.
Yes.
Vast subject. I'll assume Zora would agree with me on that, but that's it in a nutshell. If you'd like me to continue, I will.
Yeah, well, I guess what's really, if you could just tell us a little bit in terms of the function, and we all, I do, some of us understand that it's alien controlled. And so if it's alien controlled, and, people look at the moon, they look at, how the moon even affects beings, right? The tides and everything else. You can't really get rid of the moon, can you? Or are we going to be able to bring in a new moon? How is that all going to play out? Because we still rely on the moon per se in regards to the existence here in this world, on this earth right now.
That's what you've been told.
Right.
See, planets, your planets are chasing your sun. All of your planets are dancing with each other, and they control the natural orbits. Notice that some of your planets have a lot of moons.
A lot of what?
Notice a lot of planets in your solar system have a lot of moons.
Oh, yes, of course.
How many of them are constructed?
I have no idea.
Quite a few.
Oh,
so what if, as I said, what if you wanted to build your own planet? Well, many of you have. Many of us have owned our own planet. the moon is nothing more than a manufactured planet. Doesn't it look a little large to be right outside of our orbit? It's a little big, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Now, what's more interesting to me is how this relates to the sun. Notice that it needs sun, doesn't it?
Yes.
Notice it doesn't spin, does it?
Right.
Why doesn't it spin, Jane?
Because it's not a planet.
That's right. So it's self-calibrating and configuring to the frequency of the electromagnetic etherics of our planet. So it's taken this long to be an expert at managing us. So when it was very close to our orbit, it had to calibrate. It took this long for it to calibrate, configure to our frequencies. And we had a lot to say in that because we're participating with a high-frequency being known as Earth. It's not its name for the Galactic Federation and Council members, but we call it Earth. That's fine. And no, I'm not going to tell you the name. No, I'm not going to tell you the name.
Okay, another day.
Because that'll be a belief system that I install in you.
Oh,
so we'll just
all right. We'll leave it at Earth.
So I can create timelines. I have to be respectful to my words at some point, don't I? If I create timelines, then we potentially all believe in it, just like my Antarctica shenanigans.
Okay.
Anyway, the fun thing about it is everything is fixable. Everything we can heal from this, no problem, and that is go within. Just use your just forget about everything we talked about and use your expression and your excitement to make your next choice. And I guarantee these dimensions, so limited that word, these dimensional doors open up for you. It's very easy now because we're on the end of the ascension cycle. I encourage everyone to live from their heart.
Yes.
And now the sun, right?
Yes, the sun.
What's fun for me is, why does everyone think the sun's so big?
Because it is.
Why does everybody think it's hot?
Because people believe that it is.
Well, how could it be hot if everyone freezes their ass off when they go closer to it?
That's a good question too. Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've at least given us that information. So at least outer space exists, does it? Okay. Or is it hyperspace? What is it? What is it between us and the sun? What if the sun was only 5 feet away from us? Would you know? Would you?
Well, we should know.
You still there?
Yes.
Yep. Yeah. So we don't really know how far the sun is away from us. So how would you know what the scale of it is?
That's true.
Now, I'm not sure if you've talked about this on your other shows, but obviously the sun is a beautiful example of what higher dimensions look like. So that's a 12th dimensional being with 12 dimensional beings on it. So as an example, you can't live on the sun because you're not a 12th dimensional being.
Correct.
Again, these words are very limited and do nothing to explain what a dimension is, but the high frequency of being in a cold fusion environment, higher dimension, is representative of what it does for us. Look what it does. It wants to give life. It wants to create oxygen, trees, biospheres. It is a living, breathing, dedicated source energy that only wants one thing and one thing only, and that is to create life. That is fairly noble. The only thing more noble than that would probably be water, air, and the trees you live with. To be oxygen is fantastic. To be oxygen is just incredible. You get to be everything. Look at a human being. Its hair grows faster when it gets more sun, more oxygen, and good water. Look at it. That's exactly what the Galactic Federation said. Well, at least you guys have a bunch of good water. I go, no, actually, they filled it full of EMF. So all our water is contorted. And the water master, Mr. Emoto, they murdered him. So I don't know where to go now. They don't know that they're water. What do you mean they don't know that they're water? they're on a water planet. No, they're actually convinced they're out of water. There's this place called Bakersfield, California. They've told everyone there's no more water on the planet. Wait a minute, but it's a water planet. It can't go anywhere. Did you ask them to ask their scientists, where did the water go? Oh, it's all gone. Well, where did it go? It can't leave its biosphere. It just changes state. Can't you explain that to them? Well, I did, but they can't figure out how to get a pipeline from the Columbia River down to Los Angeles. So I don't know what to do. That PVC pipe's very expensive here on Earth, but they have no problem getting an oil pipeline installed in Prudhoe Bay and sending it to Los Angeles in California. It's not, Mexico. It's not a big deal. Yeah. The oil is far more valuable than that water. Huh. Interesting. So that shows you some of the limitations we have that are right underneath our nose. All of the knowledge that I'm giving you today, you can get as well through your heart. Anyway, the sun is probably your best explanation of where bliss exists. Living on the sun was a tool for me to understand the energetics of our planets and desires of our planets, inspiration of our planets. And I'm sure I've already said that in other shows. Please, Jane, continue.
Yes. Well, we only have, a short few minutes here. I was wondering if, your last messages for today. Today has been really packed full of information and lots of love and, more truth about what we didn't understand before. And that's so very helpful as we are all moving as we are moving towards the ascension to higher frequencies. And, I kind of I don't want to bring in anything else just to cloud things any more than like politics and things like this. I'll leave that one alone. We would love to be able to hear more from you about, what you would like to be able to share with us in the next, few minutes, and maybe more of your commands, perhaps, especially during this time when a lot of people are still feeling like we're kind of stuck, not getting to where we want to be, although you can get to where you want to be at any time. But anyways, when we're talking about what is happening around us, I guess is what I'm referring to.
Sure, no doubt about it. Okay, so what I've been a coach to explain to you is, a lot of people want to get in the weeds with me around politics, and obviously I have a lot of visibility to global politics and the desires of many, many people to control you. Absolutely, very few people have the ability to control a very large amount of individuals here. But you be careful with identity when you start, even I'm guilty of it. When you start calling the CIA, the Army, you must realize that there are many silos within these organizations who work outside of the boundaries, proactively and negatively. So you've got a very, very tricky situation here when you're combating aliens. Okay, so they know that you can't see them like I can. So they hide themselves as very prominent roles inside these institutions, pretending to be humans. And they do it through consciousness. And so it's tricky to give lessons learned or what we've accomplished since the last time we've talked, but I'm going to do my best right now. In regards to AI, when's the RV coming is probably the top question I always get when I'm doing my one-on-ones, et cetera, et cetera. And I'll show you how tricky this game is here. Shutting down a system that was designed by aliens while keeping it alive so you still have a grocery store, very tough to do. And recognizing that you're getting your awakening powers back at the same time. So, who's going to play God is a very, very tough question for a lot of these good guys. Who's going to give everybody the information that we're all dying for? And the short version would be all of your governments are collapsing because you're getting savvier at not liking governments, number one. Number two, you actually love some of your governmental services. And you like the idea of being governed. to some degree, but they're all collapsing because they haven't served you, as you can see. It's very important that the tools that we're using that are controlling us are actually the tools to catch the bad guys too. So keeping a lot of these systems alive, and so I know a lot of you are impatient. Why doesn't disclosure happen? Well, it already has happened. It's already over. It started in 1492 when we discovered America. That was disclosure, everyone. When the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor, all that. Anyway, come on, just a little giggle. Anyway, the internet is exclusively been designed to artificially install your future. That's all the internet was originally designed for, and to construct the volume of information you're allowed to have. Your governments have a tremendous amount of information they don't know how to give you. And so they've decided to try and trickle it out to you over the course of 50 years, plus or minus, while concurrently bad guys are attacking disclosure at the same time. Now, that same tool is how you catch the bad guys. Keeping the internet going, even as corrupt as it is, even though you have artificial intelligence, mapping everything you do. You lost all your rights, as I said, when you signed that 2-year agreement and you downloaded your first application. It's not your constitution that you need to be worried about. It's about your constitution that's been stolen from you. You're being watched continuously. So the great war that's occurring here is who is got such a thirst to control us. Not easy to find people who have technology in which can cut and paste time, control narratives, and install thoughts in your head that are not yours. How do you fight that? So be patient, dear ones. There is, as you can tell, a lot we're doing here. And if I'm talking about it and I've given you this information, know that we've made tremendous headway. Notice that we work in waves. You also should be able to notice how your ascension powers can contradict all of this. Because you're so powerful, you can actually control these computers now. Quite interesting. Now, the computers know you can do this too, and they're even watching that. Be very careful of these things, dear ones. These are the trick. You're not supposed to be on these things. They want to map us, and it's also how we're mapping the bad guys. So be very patient. All your video games are designed to make alternate realities. Yes, some of them are neutral. You can make them neutral. People that are very powerful, like Azorea, yourself, I assume, Jane, but you must be very careful with it because it's always watching you. In any event,
how about a couple of good commands, and I think we're ready to go. I think we're done.
Okay.
Oh, we have 60 seconds.
60 seconds?
Yes, go for it.
60 seconds? Okay. Prime creation, increase our life force energy. Prime creation, I command prime creation to increase our life force energy now for all. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It shall be. A beautiful, beautiful day to you.
Beautiful. Beautiful day to you too. And thank you so very, very much, Q. We love you dearly. We can't wait till we hear from you again. And again, to BBS Radio, Don and Doug, you are absolutely fabulous. So thank you so much for hosting our calls. And we will talk with you soon as well. Much love to everyone and see you on our next call. All right. Bye now. See you maybe on Zora's call for tomorrow. Thank you, Q. Thank you, everyone, and have yourselves a marvelous, wondrous, glorious, and loving day. And we shall call it a day. Thank you.